Hi guys, Jimmy from Boxing Life, and welcome to the channel. And a bit of a different setup for me personally today. I'm away from my usual setup. I'm out of the country, so I just wanted to give you my quick thoughts on the fight last night between obviously Joshua and Usyk. And it pretty much kind of went the way I expected. Personally, I thought Joshua put on a pretty good performance. He did change some aspects of his approach, which was good. But Usyk overall is just he's just an incredible pound for pound fighter. That his movement, his jab, his variation, it was all just too much for Joshua. And I scored the fight 8 rounds to 4 to Usyk, and maybe I was even generous in one of those rounds. I don't know. I just felt that the split decision as well was very strange in terms of one of the judges' scorecards. I think it was. I can't see how he gave it so wide towards Joshua, but that's boxing politics for you, isn't it? But overall, it was an interesting fight. Joshua, you could tell he was a bit more front heavy footed, bit of a tighter guard, trying to impose himself, really being the bigger man. And Usyk, he kind of wasn't the exact same as the first fight, but it was very much just using his movement and his jab and variation, and it caused headaches at the moment for Joshua. However, you got to respect Joshua as well. I feel when Usyk was coming into range, he was able to throw that nice right hook and also that right to the body, and obviously that ninth round. You know, he's a big guy, Joshua. That at the end of the day, and he could have easily have taken Usyk out. If he maybe stepped that up maybe a bit earlier. And there was also that low blow as well. At one point, it was, I don't know. Let me know what you guys thought. I thought maybe it was on the belt, and yeah, it was overall a very interesting performance from Usyk, and very well deserved. And he might not be the biggest puncher in the world, but it doesn't really matter at that level. He's always going to be a tricky customer for whoever he fights, just because of his movement, southpaw stance, his punch variation, as I just said. So yeah, it's that leaves everything on the table for the undisputed fight now, and hopefully that is something we get to see. I think Tyson Fury did call out Usyk last night, saying he would come out of retirement again, and personally, I'd quite like to see the undisputed fight. It would have been great for Joshua versus Fury. Personally, I think that would have been a much bigger fight and build up for an undisputed fight. But sometimes it doesn't work out the way you want it. Those two could still potentially fight one day, but Usyk and Fury is definitely the fight to make now. And it's a very intriguing style matchup as well. I'm very interested to see how Fury would cope with that movement of Usyk. And I think it's a lot easier said than done, trying to impose your body on someone who's that quick. And Tyson Fury would no doubt try and do something like that. And we saw moments of Joshua doing that, but at the end of the day, if you watch my tactical overview video on the fight, it's not his style to do that. He's not a inside fighter. He likes a bit of distance so he can actually land his shots, like at the end of his punches. So that's just another important, thing to consider when you're thinking about Joshua. Oh, why did he not use his body weight? And, potentially he could have, he did. He show that he could do that in in a couple of the rounds. And Usyk, he's a smaller guy at the end of the day. And it's just not Joshua's style. And that's, the great saying, you know what it is. Styles make fights. And, it is what it is, and I think hopefully we see Joshua come back. I still think he has a lot more in the tank. to come back and get some wins. I don't think he should retire. I think, if he goes away, gets some semi-big fights after this, he's right back in the mix. He's 33, I believe. Usyk is a bit older. I think he's 35. Who knows what Usyk will do after this? Maybe he'll do the undisputed fight with Fury or whoever, and then call it quits. And then even Tyson Fury, he's retiring every 5 minutes at this rate. That leaves the door open for Joshua to come back again. And yes, he's getting older as well. But he's still 33 is still quite young in some sense for a heavyweight. He still has years ahead of him, and there's still some big fights out there for him too. So yeah, it was, I think obviously he was very emotional after the fight, and I don't blame him. You go through so much hardship and a huge, training camp. This is like world-class athletes. You need to consider that, with huge egos. And, he clearly gave it everything. And I can, there's a bit of like, just give Usyk his moment. It was, a motivational speech he gave after towards him. But then he was also acting just very peculiar. I think he threw the Ring magazine and the WBA belt out the ring, which was bizarre. And I think he also said to Usyk that he thought he won. And obviously he was also crying in the press conference. And I think it's just, he's just worked so hard for it. And it's just all these emotions are just coming out of him now. And sometimes, when you lose, it can be a huge sense of relief. And maybe this second defeat, just kind of let all those emotions go, despite what you think about it. He's human at the end of the day. And yeah, you people are saying, oh, he's mentally unwell and stuff like that, and that's just ridiculous. He's just a person that has emotion, and I'm sure he'll come back from this. I really am, and yeah, guys, that's my thoughts on the fight. It was an interesting encounter once again. It was quite similar to the first, I'm not going to lie. I think Usyk showed greater variation in this fight with his punch combinations, and Joshua did try and impose himself a bit more. It was slightly different, but it did kind of have the same feel. But an interesting night all round, and yeah, hopefully they can get the undisputed fight. Let me know in the comments, what you would like Usyk to do next. Do you think he will get the fight with Tyson Fury, or do you think he'll maybe go on and do something else? And for Joshua, do you think he should retire, pack it in, or do you think he should continue fighting at least a couple more years and try to get another title shot? I'd love to hear your thoughts, guys. As always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.